What if the thing stealing your peace isn't your calendar, isn't your workload, or your lack of resources, but a silent comparison loop running inside your brain? There is a silent thief that enters your mind the moment you wake up. It doesn't steal your money, your time, or your health. It steals something far more precious. It steals your peace. We call it comparison, a simple act of looking at another's life and measuring it against our own. But in the digital age, this is no longer a simple act. It has become a systemic loop, a digital mirror that doesn't show us who we are, but who we are not. Think of a woman we'll call Sarah, a talented architect, respected by her peers, successful in her craft. But one morning, while sipping her coffee, she scrolls past a post. A former colleague has just been named Young Architect of the Year. In an instant, Sarah's coffee tastes bitter. Her own achievements, which felt like victories yesterday, now feel like failures. Have you ever felt that? That sudden, heavy drop in your chest after just a few seconds of scrolling? The calculation Sarah's brain just performed is brutal. It isn't, am I doing well? It is, am I doing better than them? This is the comparison trap. It is the invisible prison where the walls are built from the perceived successes of others. And the most dangerous part? The prison doesn't just lock you in, it convinces you that you deserve to be there. To the world, this is just envy or low self-esteem. But in a biological sense, this is a crisis. Neuroscientists call this neural status loss. When you perceive yourself as lower in the social hierarchy, your brain doesn't just feel sad. It processes this perceived drop in rank in a way that mimics a physical attack. We are wired for status, not for the sake of vanity, but for survival. In the ancient world, status meant access to resources, protection, and food. To lose status was to risk death. Today, we aren't fighting for a cave or a piece of meat, but the neural machinery remains the same. Welcome to the Selah Bible Lab. Today, we are going to dissect the anatomy of the comparison trap. We will explore why your brain is wired to feel inferior and how to apply a biblical protocol to break the loop and reclaim your sovereign peace.
To break the trap, we must first understand the machinery. Meet the ventral striatum. Think of this as your brain's primary reward center, essentially a dopamine-driven engine of desire. When you achieve a goal, the striatum floods your system with dopamine. It feels like victory. But the ventral striatum is a relative processor. It doesn't care about the absolute value of your success. It cares about the relative value. If you earn $10,000, you feel a surge of victory. But if you discover your peer earned $20,000, the reward center in your brain doesn't just stop firing, it flips. The victory is instantly rewritten as a loss. This is the social comparison loop. Here is one of the most striking findings in modern neuroscience. The pain of perceived status loss is processed in the exact same region of the brain as physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex. When you feel less than, when you feel the sting of envy, your brain is not imagining it. It is registering a wound. This neural status loss we feel when scrolling through a feed is biologically an injury. This creates a devastating cycle. You feel the pain of inferiority, so you seek to close the gap. You work harder, you buy more, you curate a better image. But the goalpost of status is a moving target. The moment you reach the new level, you find a new peer to compare yourself to.
you are running on a hedonic treadmill that is powered by the frustration of never being enough. You are not fighting a lack of achievement. You are fighting a biological glitch in how we perceive value. You are treating a relative metric, social status, as an absolute measure of your worth. This is the core of the trap. And to escape it, we cannot rely on trying harder. We need a systemic override. Now let's see how Scripture diagnosed the same problem centuries ago. Long before the discovery of the ventral striatum, the authors of Scripture diagnosed this biological glitch with terrifying precision. Proverbs 14:30 tells us, "A tranquil heart gives life to the flesh, but envy rots the bones." Notice the word rots. The Scripture does not say envy hurts the feelings or causes stress. It says it rots the bones. In the Hebrew context, the bones represent the very foundation of a person's being, their strength, their structure, their core. Envy is not a surface-level emotion. It is a corrosive agent. It eats away at the internal architecture of your soul. Consider the tragic case of King Saul. He had everything: the crown, the army, the status. But his world collapsed the moment a song was sung. When the women chanted, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s," the comparison trap snapped shut. Saul didn't care that he had slain thousands. He only cared that David had slain more. In that one sentence, Saul's status was erased. His reward center flipped. And the resulting envy didn't just make him jealous, it drove him to madness. To understand this, we must distinguish between two different pains. Jealousy fears loss. Envy hurts when someone else wins. Envy is the social comparison loop in its most destructive form. It is the belief that the grace given to another is a theft from your own life. It is a direct assault on the concept of divine stewardship. The biblical cure for the comparison trap is not to ignore others, but to shift our gaze. It is the transition from comparative worth, where your value is based on your rank, to absolute worth, where your value is based on your Creator. When you realize you are a masterpiece, designed with a specific, unrepeatable purpose, the success of another is no longer a threat. It becomes a testimony of God's abundance. We are now entering the lab. For the next few minutes, I want you to step out of the loop. Put down your distractions. If you are in a safe place, close your eyes. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. And exhale for 8. As you breathe out, imagine the weight of every comparison you've made today. Every not enough, every why them, every I'm falling behind, leaving your body as a gray mist. You are telling your vagus nerve that the war is over. You are telling your amygdala that you are safe. You are no longer a competitor in a race. You are a child of the King. Now, I want you to find one absolute truth in your life. Not a relative success, not a rank, just a truth. Perhaps it is the fact that you are loved by an infinite God. Perhaps it is the breath currently filling your lungs. Perhaps it is a specific promise from Scripture that has held you together in your darkest hour. Focus on that truth. Feel it. Let it occupy the space where the comparison used to live. This is the Selah moment, the pause,
the reflection. By intentionally shifting your focus from the horizontal, comparing yourself to others, to the vertical, connecting yourself to the divine, you are physically inhibiting the ventral striatum's comparison loop. You are rewiring your brain to find satisfaction in being exactly who God called you to be. Notice the shift in your chest. The tension is gone. The status loss has vanished because you have realized that your status is not earned. It was given to you by grace. You are no longer a victim of the loop. You are the architect of your peace. Biological change does not happen in a moment of inspiration. It happens through a protocol of consistency. To permanently break the comparison trap, I challenge you to a 30-day neural reset. We will call this the Selah Protocol, consisting of 3 clear stages. Step 1, the audit. For the first 10 days, every time you feel that sting of inferiority, don't fight it. Write it down. Who were you comparing yourself to? What status did you feel you lost? By naming the trigger, you move the experience from the emotional amygdala to the analytical prefrontal cortex. You are turning a pain into a data point. Step 2, the digital fast. For the next 10 days, we implement the digital boundary. Unfollow or mute any account that triggers the status loss loop. Replace that scrolling window with a Selah window. 10 minutes of absolute silence and scripture. You are starving the loop of its fuel. Step 3, the grace pivot. When you see someone else succeed, intentionally pray for them. Thank God for their victory. This is the ultimate biological override. By celebrating another, you train your brain to see a win for someone else as a sign of God's abundance, not your own lack. You were not designed to be a copy of someone else. You were designed to be the only version of you that will ever exist in the history of eternity. Stop measuring your soul with another person's ruler. If you are ready to break the loop and reclaim your peace, write the words, "I am enough in Him" in the comments below, and let me know what country you're watching from. Selah. Pause. Reflect. I will see you in the next session.